Um, I was planning on being on earlier, but we had a fox enter the yard again, and my dog just was losing his mind because of a fox in the driveway. So I had to delay the live by a little bit, but that's okay. Here we are. Lately, I've been talking about two concepts, and that's been what each of my lives has been about, and then everything else that I chat about in between, because I always talk about extra stuff. But what I wanted to talk about is true sidereal and also embodiment, because these are important aspects that can really benefit you in how you manage your life, how you experience things. Hi, Mama Bear. Hi, Xandrian. How are you, love? So I am going to talk about the celestial outlook of where the planets are in the sky right now versus traditional or tropicals or seasonal, whichever term you want to use, of the astrology that's mainstream. It's not operating under the same system. So it becomes Scorpio season, not when the sun enters into the sign of Scorpio, which is when it should. It becomes Scorpio season on this specific date, regardless of where the sun is. And they make the arbitrary new moon and full moon align with what it should align with. Because if the sun was in Scorpio, the opposing, which would be the full moon, should be in Taurus. So because that they've done that, then they're not even reporting on the moon in the correct position. I'm going to actually look at the sky live because I keep that up all the time. I'm going to look at the sky live, and I just want, what's this thing that's in my way? Go away. Okay, anyway, it's gone now. It was blocking my view. So I'm going to look on the moon, and I just want to see when the next full moon is. Currently, the moon is in Aries. It moved into Aries last night around 2100. Where is it? The next full moon is on Thursday. Afternoon, love. The next full moon is on Thursday. Now, in the traditional tropical seasonal astrology, whatever you want to call it, I believe let me check. I'm going to do a Google search. I'm going to do a search. Full moon, December 4th, 2025. I should have asked what sign it was in. It's the cold moon because it's December. The cold moon. Gemini. So they're saying that the full moon is going to be in Gemini. Well, the moon currently on the 2nd is in Aries, and the moon takes 2.5 to 3 days to transit through each sign, depending on which sign it is. So how is it going to, in 2 days, when it just entered Aries last night, which means it's in Aries for at least 2.5 days? So the full moon isn't in Gemini. If we look on the moon and we check and see what it says, it will tell us that the full moon on Thursday, December 4th, and when you check, where does it have its sign? Where does it write that down? Well, anyway, I can always go and check it. The next full moon will look, anyway, Taurus. I was going to say Taurus because I knew it was, but I just wanted to pull up the actual information and read it from there. So it's actually in Taurus. The moon is in the constellation of Taurus, but mainstream astrology is telling us, hey, guess what? Celebrate a full moon in Gemini. Well, Gemini and Taurus are very different energies. So if you're somebody that does rituals around the full moon, wouldn't you rather do the ritual for the actual moon, like the actual constellation the moon is in? And would you also like to work with what sign the sun is in? Because if the moon is in Taurus, then in order to be in opposition, that means that the sun has to be in Scorpio. Well, it's kind of sort of Scorpio. And the reason why I say kind of sort of Scorpio is because in true sidereal, they account for they are, absolutely. And that's why I do true sidereal and Krystic astrology. And that's what I call it. And I'm actually going to be teaching it in March. I'm preparing all the course information at this point. It is. And it's about keeping you disconnected, and then you lose energy because you're doing rituals on the wrong moon. So when you're following the mainstream, you're out of alignment because you're going to be celebrating a full moon in Gemini. Well, what would you do with a full moon in Gemini, right? How would you harness that energy versus a full moon in Taurus? Well, just look at what the energy is of Taurus, right? Taurus is the one that governs the second house. Absolutely. Yep. They do this on purpose because it keeps us out of alignment, and then they can actually use the way that it's meant to be used while teaching us lies that are built on truth. So there is truth in some of the stuff that we learn, and that's how they sell the lie, and that's how they do everything. Everything is that way. Give you a little bit of truth so that you're like, yeah, I know that's true. So then you'll believe the rest of the lies that they tell us. So I like to do things using true sidereal because I would rather look at what the sky is actually saying. So if I can look at the sky and find the moon is in the constellation of Taurus and it's a full moon, then I'm going to celebrate that full moon. That's what I'm going to do stuff around that. And it's way more potent than that. There's so much more that you can do with it. There's the daily triad that you should be checking in on. So what sign is the moon in? What sign is Mercury in? And what sign is Venus in? And the reason why we check this as a daily triad is because the moon governs your emotional landscape. Mercury governs your thoughts and communications. And Venus is about desire and attraction and hello love and relationships. So when you look at that every day, you can look at what the influence is of the celestial bodies on you at that time. And you can track it. You could even track it to see, like, it wouldn't be something that would be false. It wouldn't be something that someone else would be doing for you. You're just looking at the sky and checking in on it. And you can even come here because I do 5 days a week anyway. Lately, I've been doing 5 day a week check-ins. And I'm reporting on what's in the sky. I'm pull up the sky live. You can do that at home, right? Yeah, I didn't demote Pluto. I see Pluto as an influence. There's an influence of Pluto. There absolutely is. This is just for further stuff to just like make us go, what? It's a planet. It's not a planet. It's a planet. It's like this. It's that. It is more of a minor body, so it may not have as much of an effect on you as what some of the other things, but you know, it's the same way that we look at giving the sun, the moon, and the rising more emphasis on ourselves. We could look at it from that way, that it's just something that gets less emphasis, but it does have an effect, and it affects us globally and collectively, right? So we'll talk about a little bit about that when we go through the alignment. I think I wrote that in today. So we have the sun in Ophiuchus, which is the 13th sign that they've removed from traditional astrology. So technically in traditional astrology, this would be Scorpio, but also not, because like I said, they're saying it's a full moon in Gemini, which if it's a full moon in Gemini, then that means that the sun is in Sagittarius. And I was born in traditional astrology on the 6th of December under the sign of Sagittarius. But when I check under True Sidereal, I'm actually Ophiuchus. So there's a big switch to that. The way that we identify, and if we're identifying through astrology and we're doing our natal charts and we're checking in on that, you can be completely out of alignment with your makeup and your energy and how you're meant to navigate this incarnation, because you're looking at it from a completely different viewpoint. And mainstream astrology is almost like a personality thing. And this soul stream stuff that I do is not about personality. It's more of a guide in how you're meant to navigate. And these are ways that they show you some of the gifts that you bring. They tell you some of the ways that you can handle, or you're gonna, you're gonna manage your life through this specific incarnation, and so much more. So anyway, we have the sun in Ophiuchus. We have the moon in Aries, and like I said, it just went into Aries last night at almost 9 o'clock, like just before 9 o'clock my time, and I'm in Mountain Time. So whatever time 9 o'clock Mountain Time was for you, that's when it would have happened. Mercury is in Libra, and it's been stationed in Libra for a bit. It actually transits out of Libra on the 13th of December. Venus has been in Libra for quite some time now, and it just transitioned out, or it is, sorry, tonight at 2200 tonight, Mountain Time. It transits from Libra into Scorpio. So this is going to bring a whole new energy to how we're going to navigate relationships, right? This is a deeper focus. Scorpio is a much deeper energy than Libra. Libra's balance and harmony. So we've got Mars and Ophiuchus until December 10th when it moves into Sagittarius. We've got Jupiter in Gemini. We've got Saturn in Aquarius. We have Uranus in Taurus, Neptune in Pisces, and Pluto in Capricorn. Why? The last few days. So the sun moved into, let's see what happened in the last few days. On November 29th, so that was on Saturday, the sun moved into Ophiuchus, and the moon moved into Pisces, right? So, and then to like I said, last night it moved into Aries. So it could have been the Pisces moon in combination with Ophiuchus energy, definitely. But now it's in Aries, so that's going to change the emotional energy. Yeah, now she could be fiery. She really could be. But the Ophiuchus energy does bring a lot of fire, right? It's a combination because it's the 13th sign. It comes between Scorpio, a water sign, and Sagittarius, a fire sign, and it has the attributes of both. That's it's about resurrection. Okay, so let's look at the energy, and we'll check in on that. Hello, Salasia. How are you, my love? It's nice to see you. And hi, say hi. Comment wherever you're from. I don't know what channel you're on. Say hi, and let me know what channel. So the moon's fiery entry into Aries last night ignited a fresh cycle of momentum, but this one doesn't come from ego, it comes from force. It doesn't come from ego force. And I was trying to combine those words together and split them apart. It does not come from ego force. It comes from clarity that has emerged. Yay, that's good. That's really, really good. I'm gonna have to say that again because I think I've just confused myself. So the moon's fiery entry into Aries last night at almost 9 o'clock my time ignites a fresh cycle of momentum, but this one comes not from ego force, but from the clarity that has emerged through the Pisces womb gateway. Meanwhile, the sun remains in Ophiuchus, keeping us anchored in Oversoul transformation and truth reclamation. So this is powerful energy, very powerful energy. Tonight's most important shift is that Venus leaves Libra and enters into Scorpio. This is deepening relational dynamics, initiating heart level purification, and aligning love with power, not performance. So we are witnessing this portal shift from air to water and from surface to soul. So we're doing a deep dive now. I need to sink. I need a drink. I need to sink. I need a drink. So we have the sun in Ophiuchus. That's the resurrection flame. It continues to pour into the earth's field, anchoring divine memory, sacred power, and spiritual sovereignty. Each day the sun shines through this hidden sign, another veil is lifted. Your purpose is no longer something that you need to find. It's something you remember. Let the fire of Ophiuchus burn away the false and refine the true, because that's what Ophiuchus's energy does. So just allow this to happen. Allow the clarity to come. Life is so much better when you're clear about things. It really is, right? Nobody wants to have muddled information. It's very confusing, very disarming. And that's how a lot of stuff that's in our world right now is. It's confusing on purpose. It's confusing on purpose because that keeps us questioning, and that keeps us foggy, and it can, make you spin and spiral because you're just trying to understand it. And sometimes we just get so tired of it, we're just like, okay, I'm just going to accept whatever it all is, just because I'm just tired of trying to, figure it all out. So we do want the clarity. The clarity is peaceful. It's lovely to be in a space of clarity. And when you're aligned, you are in that space of clarity, because then your oversoul is driving the bus and your ego's in the passenger seat. And we'll talk about that later. So the moon in Aries activates your will. Good luck with everything, by the way. I don't know if you left just yet, but I love you. So in this context, it's not the will of survival, okay? It's the will of the soul. So after the moon's passage through Pisces, which softened our defenses, this Aries spark can feel like an ignition, because Pisces is like wrapping things up, but Aries is starting things anew, because everything is a cycle of death and rebirth, but we're meant to be spiraling up. Right? We're not meant to be looping. That's not the way that the circles, there's not supposed to be a continuous circle and round and around and around. So use this energy to act from alignment, not reaction, right? That's where you're going to have to practice, right? Because that fiery energy, and if you're reactionary, then that means that there's something that you need to work on underneath the surface. Right? There's some trauma that's underlying that is making you reactionary. Love you, sweetheart. Thank you. Thank you very much. So lead from your clarity, not your wounds. That's very important. Buenos dias. ¿Cómo está? Someday soon, I'll go back to Costa Rica. Someday soon. I hope so. God willing. All right, so we then have Venus entering Scorpio at 2200 tonight, my time, mountain time. So Venus, the planet of love, value, and relational magnetism, descends into the waters of Scorpio tonight. This is not superficial. Scorpio requires truth, depth, and soul level integrity in all things love and value. So it's going to be calling us to be honest and to stand in integrity. So good thing we have clarity. That clarity will be great standing in alignment. So what does this bring for us? False intimacy patterns will crumble. And we want that. We don't want to be aligned with something that's false, right? I want to know the truth. I'm a truth seeker. Sexual and creative energy will intensify and clarify. That's good, right? Harness that energy. Thank you, man with a pot. So, and we also have true heart-led devotion that is going to rise. I'm doing fantastic. How are you? So Venus in Scorpio burns away performance-based love and asks for sacred surrender. Sounds pretty good. Good. I'm glad that you're doing well. That's nice. You didn't say where you're from. You're just gonna sit in the background. Say hi. I'm gonna pause for a second and say hey. Hope they ran away. I guess I spoke too much. Alrighty. Let's go back to it then. So I wanted to do a little bit of the Krystic triad teaching, right? Tonight we witnessed the final hour of Venus in Libra, the closing of a refinement cycle in how we've expressed love, partnership, and balance. As she crosses into Scorpio, she becomes initiate and priestess, seeking alchemical union, not romantic illusion. Right? We're not in no bubblegum pop, like no fairy tale, like fake thing. Like we're asking for that integrity and the truth, right? And that's what we're looking for in the relationships. And the ones that aren't aligned with that are going to just leave, or we're going to allow them to go. So Mercury remains in Libra, which means that our mind is still going to be craving peace, but your heart is now hungering for truth. Aw, love you. That's awesome. I'm so happy you got it all done. So the sun in Ophiuchus, moon in Aries, Venus in Scorpio forms a potent triad of solar resurrection, lunar activation, and Venusian transformation. A sacred trinity of will, love, and divine fire. So today, Venus enters Scorpio. On the 10th, Mars enters Sagittarius, which is expansion of divine action. On the 13th, Mercury enters Scorpio, which is depth communication and truth codes. Things are going to get real on the 13th because now our head and our heart are saying, we want the truth. We want what's real. And that's going to be powerful. It'll be interesting to see. I should check and see where the moon's going to be when Scorpio enters into Mercury, or Mercury enters into Scorpio. I should check and see what it's going to be, because it'd be kind of fun to see what the energy is going to be like. But fun. And on December 17th, the sun officially enters Sagittarius. And this happens at 23:56, so almost midnight. And it marks the Phoenix rising gate, which is beautiful. That is so awesome. Aww. I love you too. Have fun and enjoy that. That's such a heart-filled thing. I know with my nonprofit with Hugs for Homeless, that how much giving and doing all of that, how powerful it is. Like I have 5 bags sitting in my living room waiting to be distributed. My partner also has 5 bags, and thank you. Yes. Oh, now you made me want to go and hug some giddies. Just go hug some giddies. Cass would lose his mind when I came back. Oh my God. He would not be happy me smelling like cats, let me tell you. He may have cats in his name, Castiel, but he did not. Yeah. Yeah, Gaz is like, no way. That's hilarious. So yeah, so that's the energies that we're experiencing. And see, you made it through all of the astrology stuff. Um, and now I'm going into embodiment stuff. So you're picking the perfect time to step away. It's perfect. It's always perfect. All right. So this part of the live is really why you cannot think your way into your highest self. And I have said this so many times. I felt it was time that we just like did a whole live on that, right? And I've been saying that quite a bit lately. Like I can't just now. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to dispute visualization. I don't want to say that visualization has zero power, because it is a powerful tool when combined with emotion and so on and so forth, and consistency and all these other things. Because they have done studies before of people who worked out, people who visualized working out and all of these other things, and the people that visualized it had good gains for never actually physically lifting anything. And the control group did nothing. So they had more gains than the control group just by sitting there thinking about lifting weights. Like they went through a series of like watching themselves, visualizing themselves in their mind, lifting weights in a variety of ways. And the other people actually lift those weights in the variety of ways. And like I said, the gains by the group that did the visualization were actually quite surprising. And so that's something to keep in mind. But you can't just think about, like, I know how many times in the 4 years that I've been running my company, I do a lot of things in helping people understand who and what they are and how they're meant to live, what your soul mission is. I do a lot of different things. You'd have to check out the website to see everything that I offer. I have mini courses, I have mini classes. I have courses, I have membership groups. I've got 17 books published, working on 18 and 19 to be published on the 21st of this month. Lots of stuff. On January 9th, I'm starting a course called Bridge to Light, which we're going to talk about here a little bit because it's about embodiment. But anyway, let's get back to talking about thinking your way to it and what I've prepared for that. So nice. Thank you. So today we're going to explore something that confuses almost everyone on the spiritual level. Why you cannot think your way into your highest self, and why every real transformation begins in the body long before it reaches the mind. I want to start with a moment that changed everything for me. It was the day I realized I was doing everything right. I was meditating, I was healing, I was clearing, I was journaling, I was doing all the things to raise your vibration. But my reactions were the same, my boundaries were the same, my decisions were the same, and my energy output was the same. I had all the knowledge, but nothing had changed because I needed to realize something important. And that was that transformation doesn't happen because you know something. It happens because you become something. And I had to do that. So what do people get wrong about spiritual growth is that most people try to change their life with mindset work, which is an important part. The mindset only rewires the top layer of you, though. That's only one facet of you and how you operate as this divine machine that you are, right? So your oversoul communicates through resonance. Your intuition communicates through the body. And the nervous system stores the truth of your lived experiences. So when people try to think themselves into confidence, think themselves into intuition or think themselves into embodiment, they get stuck. You cannot think your way into a new identity. You have to breathe it, feel it, and live it. The personality is shaped by your past. Your oversoul is shaped by your purpose. Your personality says, I need evidence before I can trust this. And that's what the ego is, right? Your oversoul says, you will have confidence once you trust. So I started a nonprofit in partnership with another individual. And part of that means that I had to put myself out of my comfort zone. I've never owned a nonprofit. I've never run a charity organization. I've never done a massive amount of fundraising. I haven't got corporate sponsors before. I haven't got corporate donators before. I haven't done this stuff before, but I did it full in 100%, jumped off the cliff and said, yes, because I knew that was something that I was meant to do. And so off we went running with Hugs for Homeless. And this past weekend, I realized that every week I have to take one step out of my comfort zone, one tiny step, because there's a bit of imposter syndrome that goes around until you work through it, right? And the confidence comes by taking those steps. When I reach out to people, so going into stores and asking them to post your poster, going in and talking to managers and asking them to have a bin, putting, so a donation bin that you would then come and collect on a monthly basis, going around to corporations and asking for, corporate sponsorship or corporate donations. Those things are things that I don't do for Sha'Ryah. I don't have to do those things for Sha'Ryah. It's not the way that this particular company, my main company, works. So this is something outside, but I'm going to get myself to do it. So I made a connection with a girl when I was out talking, because everywhere I go, I talk about Hugs for Homeless. So I spoke with a girl and she was telling me that, they're having this light up the town at a town nearby. And she said that she was having a booth on that day. And if I wanted to, I could share the booth. I could just come down and I could set up with her and she would have no problem with that. And that's just such a beautiful thing for someone to offer. And, at first I was kind of hesitant, but I'm like, you just do it. Just do it. You'll make it through it. You'll be fine, right? And you just tell yourself you're going to be fine and do it. And the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to learn something from it, right? Maybe you'll learn you need to prepare more. Maybe you'll learn that, that particular person's not the person that is meant to align with your pathway, right? Maybe that connection came in and it was just meant to teach you something. But maybe it's going to be something really good. But the best thing is that you did it, even though it was something that scared you, you did it anyway. And that's going to build your confidence because you did it, not because you thought about it. So your personality tries to protect you. Your ego is trying to protect you. Your oversoul is trying to expand you. Your oversoul wants you to do the things you said you wanted to come here and accomplish in this particular lifetime, right? That's what your oversoul wants for you. It wants that expansion. Hi, Christy. Sorry, I think I put a T on that. That'd be Freudian slip because I know it, Christy. And I was talking about her today. But Christy, hello. And hello, Alexandra. How are you? So your body is the bridge between your ego and your higher self or your oversoul. And these are words that I use interchangeably. So try this with me. This is a really, really beautiful practical experience or practical thing that you can do to experience some of what I'm talking about. So what I want you to do, if you're in a safe place, is just take a moment and close your eyes. And I just want you to think of something that you want right now. A dream, a desire, a goal. Put your hand on your chest. Connect with that space. And just ask, does my oversoul want this for me? Or is this what my wounded self wanted? Ooh, notice the difference? The oversoul feels very open. The wounded self feels tight, constricted. The oversoul feels warm. The wounded self feels pressured. Most people chase their desires through pressure instead of alignment. They set a goal and then they're pushing themselves. They're like pressuring themselves. You got to get this done, right? And maybe there's a procrastinator there. So they procrastinate till the end and they've got that deadline. And then all of a sudden they're like pushing because you've got to get it done, right? And sure, maybe you get it done. But again, that pushing towards the goal is not the way that your oversoul or your higher self, that your higher self does it. Well, thank you very much. I hope you have a wonderful day. Don't know. Don't see that on my side, so don't know. Yeah. So let's talk about the ego for a second. Your ego is like a tiny little security guard with a little whistle and a clipboard, and it thinks that everything is a threat. Oversoul, let's expand into a higher timeline. Ego, absolutely not. Could be danger. Oversoul, let's open your heart. Ego, you want to die today? Oversoul, let's speak your truth. Ego, we barely survived the last time you did that. So it's the way that the ego is, right? It's not trying to sabotage you. It's trying to keep you alive. It's just terrible at recognizing the difference between growth and danger. Just is. Well, if that's the case, I will see when I log out, I guess. But I'm not going to end the live until I'm done with it. And then guess I'll see when I log out. So some of the things that people have said when they've worked with me is that you make me feel calm, you make me feel clear, I can feel the truth when you speak, I finally understand myself, I feel stronger and softer at the same time. And this has nothing to do with tools or techniques. It's just the oversoul frequency. It's embodiment. When you embody yourself, that's what the result is. That's your results. That's not from what I've given you for techniques or the teachings. It's what you've done, the actions that you've taken. So people don't work with me because I have information. They work with me because of how they feel when they're in my field. They feel themselves, they feel the truth, and they feel possibility again. So I have a simple practice for you today. And hi, Elizabeth. How are you doing, sweetheart? And hi, Kelly. So here's a simple practice for when you feel overwhelmed or unsure. I want you to ask. You can close your eyes. You can breathe a few times. Put your hand on your chest to connect. And you're just going to ask yourself, which part of me is speaking right now? Oversoul or ego? And the ego is going to feel neutral. The oversoul is going to feel neutral. The ego is going to feel urgent. The oversoul feels open. The ego feels defensive. The oversoul feels like truth. The ego feels like survival. So if today resonated with you, and I know most of you didn't show up until later, so if today resonated with you, just stay close. I'm teaching this work much deeper in January, but you will know if it's meant for you, right? For now, simply begin asking, what would my oversoul choose today? Get into the habit of waking up in the morning and asking that question, because that question alone begins to shift everything for you. What would my oversoul choose today? And then move in that direction. That's all you have to do. Small steps here and there, right? Same way you eat an elephant, one bite at a time. Same way you do anything. One moment, one step, one breath. So yeah. Alrighty. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't really have anything else that I wanted to cover today. It was a much later live. It's different than when I normally do a live. So if you're catching me here, I'm normally a little bit earlier than this, but there will be days when I'm later, and that's just because I'm running two companies and the nonprofit. If I'm in town doing stuff for the nonprofit, if I don't get back out to my house in time, then the live will just be late. So I'm just trying to balance things as best as I can. So tend to go live at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, but it could be, like I said, later than that in the event that I am in town and get hung up because of my other company. Which brings me to, if you are feeling generous, we can always use donations at Hugs for Homeless. So we can get essentials into backpacks and those backpacks out into community to help those who are unfortunately homeless, and especially at this time of year. In Alberta, we've already went down to -25 overnight already. So any help would be just really, really, really appreciated. All right. I love you guys. Have a great night. Mwah. We'll talk tomorrow. Oh, I got to end this one too. Love you. Have a wonderful night. See you tomorrow. 1 o'clock Mountain. Go watch the replay. It'll be saved on Facebook and on YouTube under the lives.